What is up, cinephiles, and welcome back to Screen Kings. For today's video, let's talk about the Netflix British mystery thriller film called Nnadebe, directed by Babak and Anvari. This one tells the story of a young graffiti artist named Toby, played by MacKay, who targets and vandalizes the homes of the wealthy elite, but one day he discovers a big secret when he decides to break into the house of a former judge named Hector Blake, played by Hugh Bonneville. So this film has a don't breathe scenario going into it, where there's a low-level criminal breaking into the house of a psychopath, and with that kind of paranoid thriller genre comes along inspiration of some Hitchcockian tones. And since this is a B-movie, you got a couple of characters here making poor choices leading to their eventual doom, some fake outs, some jump scares. But what I did not expect about this movie is this one is going to have some shifting perspective. You get the point of view of the psychopath here, played by Hugh Bonneville, and different POVs coming from the rest of the main cast. So I thought it was an odd choice, but then there are also some implied time jumps in this film, which further make me think that this is just a product of a sloppy screenplay. And that's unfortunate, because this is a type of film where it wears its social commentary on its sleeve. You really need to hit the nail on the head, especially if you are a satire film like this. So in here we have Toby along with his friend Jay leaving a graffiti with the words written "Nnadebe" onto the beautiful walls of these wealthy people, just as a symbolism that even though they are the elite, even though that they are in their ivory towers, they can still be penetrated, that they are still vulnerable. So I'm not sure where the film is going at it, what is supposed to make me feel, because this film never really does follow up what happened to the lives of these wealthy people. What impact have they made? So it feels like just a disruptive act. And as a viewer, I just felt like I'm not on board with this. I find it hard sympathizing with the character, especially for the character of Toby, because he's not really fleshed out that well. You can see that he has some beef against the rich people, but the movie doesn't really explain that. He has a poor relationship with his mother. Of course, there is this absent father in the picture, but we are not given history on what made him the person who he is. And with him being the bringer of the social commentary of this film, it just felt confusing. Like it's supposed to hit something that's intellectually stimulating or maybe an eye-opening, but for a satire, I think this movie kind of loses its bite as the plot moves along, because you have this standard police procedural investigation going around this prominent figure, a well-connected man in the name of Hector Blake, and then the narrative beats are just almost like cliche. I was waiting for something revelatory to happen, and it did happen, but when it comes to connecting the dots, I don't think the movie really did it well. The main reason though why I watched this film is for Hugh Bonneville, because he's playing against type. Most of us know him as the character in Downton Abbey, and to see him doing something entirely different, it definitely piqued my interest. And he imbibes that upper class menace, and you know that there's something behind, something more sinister behind his conservative ideology. I wouldn't say his performance is as sinister compared to the other veteran actors like Ethan Hawke, who slightly starts to dabble on villain roles with his Black Phone, or maybe Stephen Lang in Don't Breathe. But if these are the kind of roles that he decides to take more on the future, I'm definitely down to see more of that. And I don't think this movie will be as half interesting if he's not in here. The shame is, since he gets a perspective and also that attached social commentary into whatever rage this character is coming from, since his motivations and his rationale for doing things is not really well fleshed, it's just mentioned in just one dialogue, we get that this is the type of character that represents high-ranking officials can get away doing terrible things in plain sight. But apart from that, this movie kind of fails to delve into his twisted mind. So when it came to that third act, it feels kind of underwhelming. There are a lot of unmentioned or implied things here that is up for the viewer's imagination. Elsewhere, the performances I think are fine. George MacKay here has a conflicted dynamic with his mother, played by Kelly Macdonald. I wish the movie explored more on their relationship. And George MacKay, however, he feels a bit old for this role, and his character comes across as immature. The thing though is, I wish that it is his best friend Jay who plays the protagonist, because I think he will be a good moral compass, someone who can really anchor this film, played by Percelle Ascott, who also gave a good performance here. But overall, this film starts on an intriguing and intense note. It has a talented cast and a really interesting premise. However, once we get into that subversion, and the second and the third act kind of feels a bit meandering, like you're just waiting for the resolutions and the revelations, and they don't really add up to make this social commentary of a film to be really that biting. So I'm gonna give this one a 2 out of 5. The shifting perspectives here really botched the tone and cohesion for me, and this movie seems to have a lot of ideas that I think will be better served as a mini-series to really land on the things that it wants to say. Yeah, but for now, I'm sticking with that grade. How about you guys? Have you seen this film? Let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like and subscribe too if you haven't yet for weekly content. Thank you so much guys for watching. Until then, I'll see you all on the next one.